Hey guys, welcome back to yet another stream of the Chelsea Hangover because we're like hungover from happiness I get from the results yesterday. I'm still really happy about it. I'm joined by two of my really good friends from the Chelsea Social, Jai and Areef, and we're just going to get into all of your questions. So make sure to leave them in the comment box on the side because, like you know, I just love going through them and seeing what you guys have to say. So Areef, I'll go to you first. How are you doing?
I'm good. Happy Monday to you guys. I'm living the dream. I'm meant to be at work right now, but I'm on my lunch break.
You're on your lunch break. Where are you? Are you in the States?
Yeah, I'm in the States. It's 11, so I'm on my lunch break at the moment.
What? I didn't know that. Okay, cool. And Jay, how are you doing today?
Yeah, good. Really good day, to be fair. So, yeah, I'm all right. I'm happy to be on the channel again as well. So, thanks for having me.
Somebody goes, you sound hungover. Are you kidding me right now? Like, I'm just happy.
Mustafa is in the comments of so many streams. This guy, I don't know how he has gets on with his day. I swear to God, he's every football stream possible.
All right, I'm sorry that I've literally worked the entire day and now I'm streaming. So I might sound a little bit loopy, you guys, but we keep on grinding. So, I accidentally clicked this comment, but I guess it's a good place to start. He says, Rudiger was an example after making a silly mistake. He stayed level-headed and gave his 100%. And I think we'll definitely get into that mistake a little bit more. But what did you guys think initially? I was like pretty impressed with, I was fuming after that own goal. Fuming. I thought that it was one of the worst own goals that I've ever seen conceded ever. But then I really did appreciate that he seemed to put his body on the line a couple of times and saved a couple of shots. What do you think, Jay?
To be honest with you, I knew you were going to ask this question. Yeah, I was thinking about it earlier, and I thought he was pretty shocking, if I'm honest, and I don't think it's a massive compliment to praise a defender for doing basic things that a defender should. So I'm not at all impressed.
I was trying to be nice because people said I was too harsh. People said, oh, you're too harsh on Rudiger.
So who cares what other people say? At least say what you got to say.
I did think that it was at least he got into like some good positions, but that goal, I talked about it in my review video, and this is a question that I want you guys in the comments to answer and like let us know what you think. Do you think that this is a droppable offense? Because the own goal was so bad. Like that was really, really basic stuff. It's like just hit it anywhere, even if you like hoof it up the pitch, hit it out, even for a corner or something. But to pass it into your own net, like, so I don't know. It was just so weird. What do you think, Areef?
It's just typical of Rudiger, isn't it? Have a couple of decent games and then making such a big blunder. It's a bit ridiculous. I completely agree with Jay. I think his blocks, other than that one cross where he got the header away, I think it was basic stuff. Honestly, I thought that he did everything that he was meant to do. I wasn't really impressed. It was shocking what he did. Honestly, there was no communication between him and Mendy, which was kind of like surprising to me because, why isn't there? Because he's an experienced defender there, so he should be the one communicating between himself and Mendy. And it was probably one of the worst own goals I've seen.
Wow, a lot of people are saying Rudiger played very well. He was immense. I wouldn't say immense. I think that's if you concede an own goal, you automatically would say that it's immense.
Do people realize he plays for an elite football team and he's a national team footballer? I don't understand. He's not a child or a youth player. He's like a fully versed professional footballer that has been over the last 5 years linked with a range of clubs and has had a very, very good footballing education. That he was not immense in any shape or form. He's erratic. His ball playing ability is massively overrated. I think Christensen was far superior to Rudiger, and I like Christensen genuinely in the back three. I do, but I don't think he's some world beating defender. I thought Rudiger was.
Areef, did Jay freeze for you as well?
Yeah, Jay froze for me, but I'll just carry on from where Jay left off until he comes back on.
Exactly what we solid.
Oh, okay. There he goes.
Yeah, Jay was absolutely right though. I think Christensen was far better than Rudiger. And Rudiger being 27 years old and being the more experienced defender, that's criminal. That's actually is criminal. I thought I didn't.
So many people were tagging me today saying that I was like so harsh because I said, do you really want him starting after conceding that goal? Like I probably would drop him. And I always have questioned how he got back into the team because I just thought that it was very weird that he got in over Zuma. And I would much prefer to have Zuma on the ball. And I really don't understand why he's benched. Like there must be something surely going on behind the scenes that we don't know. Maybe training, maybe Rudiger is training really well. Who knows? Like maybe Tuchel wants some more seniority on the pitch. I don't get it, but if you're making those kinds of mistakes, it's really a droppable offense to me. So I'm just gonna go through the comments. Let's see what people are saying. Says he didn't let that own goal play in his mind. He was good after that. But like Jay said, I did think should be there to defend and everything. Den Harding goes, get Zuma back in now. He never do that. And yeah, I agree. You think that could have been a miscommunication maybe with the language? Like you think that since Zuma and Mendy both speak French, like that could have helped, or you think that's like silly?
No, absolutely not. If that's the case, that's terrible. I'm pretty sure they can say ball in English.
Oh my god.
You know what I mean? Like, no, absolutely not. I just think it was we've seen these moments last year under Lampard's first season where Rudiger starts off decent and then he just falls off like completely. And then he got dropped. So this is nothing new. I cannot put the language barrier as an excuse for Rudiger's criminal act there, which could have caused us 3 points. Absolutely not. I think it was just the fact that Rudiger has these moments every single time after he plays a couple of decent games where he loses his head and makes a huge blunder, and it normally costs us the game. But thank God for Mason Mount. Thank God for every other player. We scored a second goal. Thank God for Werner for conceding that penalty.
Yeah, that was my thought bubble for this because honestly, Mason was just incredible. Hope goes Rudiger should start because he's a ball playing center back. But I think like the primary thing that you need to do as a center back is defend. Like I would rather the center back defend and be really sturdy there than be really good with the ball. That's just my personal preference. And we know that Thiago Silva is good with the ball as well. Now Christensen is back in the game. He's also good with the ball. So I don't know. I just think that could be like a little bit overrated in my opinion. Like I just feel that he can have good games, like you said, but then at some points it just feels really shaky. And I don't feel like a Thiago Silva type that I feel like super reassured, like, okay, he's 100% got that. I feel like sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't, and it's quite shocking. Ali goes, he made an atrocious mistake, but at some point harping on it causes more damage than good, especially seeing how much players abuse players again. I think that, I don't think that we're abusing the player by criticizing the mistake that they made. I think we're just trying to analyze critically their performance, right? And that was a really atrocious mistake. I think we gave credit to him for the saves that he made, but I don't think that it was by any means an immense performance, like we said. Jay, you're back. Everybody is backing Rudiger in the comments. They're totally against us. Mark goes, did you not watch the rest of Rudy's performance? I agree, Zuma's my preferred center back, but he did some important yesterday, bar the stupid mistake. Jay, I'll let you speak on it because I've basically just been saying that we're not abusing him. We're just trying to pick out like critically what he's done well, when he has it, what we think can be improved upon, maybe what the other center backs bring instead of him, etc., etc. So what do you think? And then we'll move on.
I agree, Zuma, but Rudy did some important. I mean, it's his job to be a defender. It's not like. I just think it seems a bit condescending towards the player, if I'm honest. And I think that if that's your standard, that a defender is defending, and therefore, okay, great. So Rudiger's made a tackle. He deserves ultimate praise for making that tackle because, it's a rarity or that he's getting overly scrutinized. That mistake is ridiculous. That mistake is so bad that completely I don't really see how you make up for that unless you were to score to, compensate for that error. Yeah, he made a few decent blocks and he made a few good tackles, but that is the absolute minimum, the minimum requirement for a Chelsea centre-back against, I think Sheffield are better than their league position says they are. But even if you look at their XG table, they're still in the relegation zone. Like, let's not pretend that they're a team that scores a lot, or because they don't. They only scored 15 league goals now. Am I missing something? Because...
Yeah, I completely agree with Jay, because if you think about it, if that was, let's say, Ricardo Cavalli or John Terry making that mistake, you can forgive him, because it doesn't happen at all. So it's a rarity. With Rudiger, he makes so many big mistakes at big times during the games. And we saw that last year under Lampard too. It's just that this can't be normalized anymore, especially if we want to compete for the title. This can't be normalized because he's so known for making these mistakes. And of course, like Jay said, that is his job to make those blocks. Other than that one header away that he got from that free kick, everything else was pure and simple. I don't think that's your job. That's what a defender does. But because he's so known for making this mistake, I think it is kind of unforgivable a little bit, because it could have cost us the game. But like I said, thank God for Werner and thank God for Mason Mount.
So going into that, I'm going to get off Rudiger. We got a comment that's riled me up a little bit. I'm not going to lie, Miroslav. By your logic, Mount's job is to score. First of all, not really his job to score. No, that's not right. Why praise someone who plays against last team on the table? What is going on? What?
Actually, that literally doesn't make any sense.
Jay, take it away. I can't form coherent sentences right now.
Well, no, because my logic for Rudiger criticism is that Rudiger is an out-and-out centre-back. Mount is a utility player that can play in a range of positions and offers forward passing. I think he offers decent sideways passing, good finishing, midfield creativity. He's able to break a press if needed. He's also able to come back and defend. I think he's a utility player. And if you think his position's to score, I think you've massively misunderstood his role. And I would argue that you probably don't watch him that often if that's what you think his role is primarily. Don't get me wrong. If Mount scores, then excellent. But for me, and I think for Tuchel as well, Mount is not the goal scorer. I think that is absurd. And evidently that doesn't make any sense.
Oh my God. I just can't. I don't know, you guys. I just feel like Mason Mount plays so well. This man is all over the pitch. He's one of the players that has the most chances created in the Premier League this season. How could you undermine that so hard? Not only that, he's only 22. He's just 22. I think Frank Lampard came to Chelsea when he was 22 or 23. And Mason Mount already has 50 plus appearances under his belt and is already playing like this and has become one of the most important players under Lampard and now again under Tuchel. And we see what a performance and what a difference he makes when he's in the team. So I really just don't understand these comments, you guys. I don't. Yeah. Okay. We have some people talking sense. Thank you.
What I don't understand is, why shouldn't we hype up Mount? Because all these other youngsters coming out of every other different club, like Greenwood, Saka, all these other players, they're getting hyped by their club. I don't understand why can't we rightfully hype up Mason Mount, because he is our player of the season so far. There's no question about it, and he was fantastic yesterday, and he was fantastic the game before. So I don't understand why can't we hype him up? That goal against Sheffield United basically eased on theirs. We were playing a 3 out of 10 in the first half. And if it wasn't for his goal, we were going into that half 0-0. You know what I mean? It's these small margins. I don't understand where sometimes people come from, because without those goals or without his play, we would be far, far lower in the league.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Chelsea FC at the
it boils down to as well, you look at Greenwood, you look at Foden, you look at, I'm not going to include Rashford because he's older than that, but those two specifically, I think Saka as well, arguably those players have identifiable positions where you would definitely play them. I see Greenwood obviously plays out on the right, but a long term I can see him transitioning more as a number 9. Foden is obviously an attacking 8 or a very creative 10. And Saka, in my opinion, I don't watch every game of his, but in my opinion, he's better off the left. Whereas Mount, because he can play in so many different positions and has played in so many different positions, people aren't able to completely identify with him because does he score goals? Does he not? Does he defend? Does he not? Is he a creative passer? What is he? And that lack of understanding means I think people generally can resent him a bit too much. And also, I think it's still residual anger towards Lampard that can't be directed at the club anymore because Lampard's no longer there, and it goes at Mount. But I imagine the situation to be, I don't think the players are overly similar, but I imagine the situation to be similar to the sort of Jordan Henderson at Liverpool, where for 4 or 5 seasons he got lambasted by fans, and now he's one of their most successful players in modern history. And he's always done the same thing. It took a manager to unlock that extra level, don't get me wrong. But, I don't understand why our own club's fans have such an issue with Mason Mount being a successful football player. Because I think that the thing is as well, it's like, how could you, as a fan, for so long, want to ingratiate the youth players into the first team setup, and now you're wanting arguably the best youth player we have. Maybe not, maybe Hudson-Odoi and Reece James, but arguably the best youth player we've had definitely this season. Why would you want him to fail so much? And that to me doesn't really make much sense, because you just enjoy the success that this player's having because it's something that fans have wanted for years, and now it's happening, it seems. I think specifically younger fans as well, let's be real. I think below sort of the 18 years old is, I would say, from what I've noticed, people disrespect Mount more so. I think a lot more of the older fans, match-going fans, they definitely appreciate what Mount does, and I think that creates conflicts. And Mount often finds himself situated across, like, right in the middle of very different camps on aesthetically, formations, manager, positionally, what's his role, and people just like to debate about him because I assume they have little else to debate about, when really I think almost every other player in the squad could be debated about more so than Mason Mount. Yeah,
really, really well said, Jay. Wow, you've taken the words right off my mouth. I could never have said it that eloquently, honestly. So I'm really glad that you're here to say that. I have a comment that says Lorenz says you're joining him on Friday. Yes, I'll be on Lorenz's channel on Friday at I think 6 p.m. my time, so 5 p.m. UK time. So definitely be sure to check out that collab because it's gonna be really cool. But let's move things along on this channel today. So. Oh, somebody, James goes, when everyone else gets into form, I think people will appreciate Mount more. And I think so as well. So I want to take it back to that first half. What did you guys think? Because I didn't really feel that we played well. I actually felt like Sheffield had the majority of the chances and looked slightly stronger. And it was a little bit frustrating because I felt like the midfield was getting overrun. And yet again, I felt like it was an issue of Chelsea, like not necessarily creating as much, but just like not picking out that final pass, not being clinical, like the final shot wasn't coming off. Areef, I'll start with you. What did you think of the first half?
So I thought it was pretty obvious the game plan from Sheffield United, which was to press Jorginho as much as possible, to make it as difficult for Jorginho and Kovacic as possible. And they did that for a long period of time. And we need to also give benefit of that to our players too, because they did play on Thursday against Tottenham, a very, very high intensity game, which we played as well. We were pressing at a very high level that game. So we need to give the benefit of that to our players too, because they played on Thursday, now they're playing on Sunday. Having said that, though, Sheffield United obviously did show a lot more. Sheffield United is a good team. They press really well. And you could see that by the way what they were doing to Jorginho, what they were doing to Kovacic. And my only complaint is the lineup. Of course, we kind of knew was a bit. It was a bit weird. It was a bit of a weird one because we really didn't have that big of a threat because we've been Giroud and Werner up front. But Mason Mount was the only person there that could deliver a killer ball other than Reece James, who was playing right wing back. The funny thing was for me, and this is what frustrates me if you noticed it in the first half. Kovacic, like, he has one final pass away in the final third to be world class, and that's what frustrates me about him is that he doesn't know that yet, or he does know that and he's not improving on it. And that's what we were lacking as well, where he does everything well. He gets the ball in midfield, he drives forward, and then his final pass is always wrong. Like, it's either a bad decision or he keeps it with himself for too long. The pass is too late. You know what I mean? Like, it just wasn't happening for us. Kovacic was basically our main guy in the first half, basically driving into the attack, from midfield to attack. Other than that, I thought it is going to be a hard game. Let's be honest here. Sheffield United gave Manchester City a very hard game. Sheffield United are no joke. They should not be at the bottom of the table where they are at the moment. And plus, like, we played decent. We defended well. Chilwell got lucky in the first couple of minutes. But he got really lucky. I don't know what's going on with him at the moment. Really bad run of form for him. So I understand why Alonso is starting at the moment, because you shouldn't start on merit. You should start on form. But all in all, I thought it was a poor first half, but I wasn't that surprised by it. I was just happy that we didn't concede. So I'll give compliments to Chelsea there that they didn't concede there. But all credit to Timo Werner for that run and for that pass, for the assist to Mason Mount. And what a clever finish by Mason Mount. What a clinical finish by Mason Mount by his left foot.
On his weaker foot as well. It was really good finish.
Which is what we needed, right? Because sometimes every team goes through this. Even every team in football, sometimes the first half is not as good as the second half, or it takes some time for the teams to get going. Lucky for us, our players actually ended up scoring. Our players actually ended up scoring, and we went to half time happy. You know what I mean? And we go from there. So I can't really blame the players too much because of fatigue, and it happens. But I don't want to see that again, to be honest. I can't see that again. But yeah, that's my take for the first half.
Yeah, I was actually like a little bit surprised when Yunus was on. We predicted that there wasn't going to be that much rotation because we thought, oh, well, there's the FA Cup game against Barnsley on Thursday, so just get the players to play this game and then they'll have rest because you can fully rotate for that game. So I was a little bit surprised about the initial starting 11. But Jay, I wanted to ask you about a player that really has not been playing well. I thought that Ben Chilwell started this season very well, and now he's just been pretty shocking. It's really disappointing to see because I've had like such high expectations for him, and I don't really know what's going on. Like, we know that being a left wing back, you need a different skill set than being a left back, right? Because we've seen it with Marcus Alonso that it's not like transferable. But I would think if you're a left back, especially he's more attacking minded as well, I thought it would be a little bit easier for him to transition from left back to left wing back instead of vice versa. But he just had another bad game, got very lucky that the build up to the penalty was offside. So what do you think about Ben Chilwell so far? How can he improve?
I mean, it's hard because I try to be as objective as possible, but I have a real soft spot for Ben Chilwell. But I will.
You're blushing.
I will. Yeah, it's only because that I don't ever push like a propaganda or an agenda like towards any player in terms of preference, really. But I really like Ben Chilwell. I think he's got a lot to offer. To be honest with you, I think what the issue is it firstly. Left wing back is somewhere that he hasn't always played, and I think if you look at what Hudson-Odoi's done when he plays right wing back, it would seem therefore that the transition from a forward to right wing back perhaps makes more sense. And you look at, like, I think the best example of this in recent years is Jesus Navas, who's played as a right winger consistently throughout his career and then moved back to right wing back at Sevilla and has been outstanding. Like, he has actually been incredible. For Chilwell's played. He's a young guy. He's my age. And he's been playing at Leicester for a decent amount of time. And, for Leicester and with Brendan Rodgers, they play a very solid a very rigid system, especially the back line. They know their roles, they know what they're meant to do, and Chilwell's played that consistently. Now he's come to Chelsea. He was impressive under Lampard, I think, for the majority of the time, not always, and that's understandable. But to go through 2 different managers and a big move, whilst also having to play in a range of different positions, I don't think it's necessarily easy for certain players to adapt as quick as it is for others. That being said, he has been very poor, and there's no way that he deserves to start over Alonso whenever we play a 3 at the back at the moment. That's not to say I don't think he can improve and adapt, because I think that's more than possible. It just seems as though his defensive awareness, when pushed up a third on the pitch, it just seems to really drop off, and he looks really confused and lost at the moment. And Tuchel might need to do some serious work with him in order to get him up to speed. But I said to the boys on the stream recently that I'm gonna really judge players maybe halfway through next season, because we've had to go through 2 managers. I'm excited for Tuchel to get a pre-season, and then we might have a better idea of what's really going on. But for now, Chilwell's obviously in poor form. I don't think it helps being lambasted, but everyone gets, criticism. I think analysis and criticism on his game and how he can improve is fair, but he's being written off far too easily at the moment, I think. And, I just hope he improves.
But Jake, don't you think Chilwell, we already knew defensively. I mean, he started the season off well, right, defensively. Then he kind of just went downhill. And you're absolutely right to give him time, because he is still very young. But don't you think yesterday's game, he was little bit non-existent going forward?
Yeah.
So, to Ellie's point, when you're playing three at the back, what I'm trying to understand is, because you have less defensive responsibility in a way in a 3 at the back. I didn't actually see Chilwell bomb forward at all. So, yeah, go on.
I don't think it's true to say you have less defensive responsibility when you play a back 3. I think you have more defensive solidity. However, the point of a back 3 is that when you attack, it's a 3, and when you defend, it's a 5. So the wing back position, you need to be constantly up and down. And I don't think Chilwell historically plays that role as, I want to say, box to box. I don't mean box to box necessarily like a midfielder, but when Chilwell attacks at Leicester, he'll spend periods forward, periods back. He's not transitioning back and forth. And I think as a wing back, you either need to have incredible attack positioning like Alonso, but he requires midfield cover as well. And then I think perhaps with Chilwell on the pitch, I can understand, and this is totally hypothetical, and I'm not saying this is necessarily the case, but I'm just sort of hypothesizing that with Kovacic and Jorginho in the midfield, who I don't think are that defensively solid, they might not perhaps anticipate that they need to cover for Chilwell when he goes forward, therefore exposing him when he's back. And let's face it, next to Chilwell's Rudiger, who we've spoken about previously, who's poor as well. So whilst Chilwell is struggling, and he definitely needs to improve, because there's no way to mask the fact that he's been below 5 out of 10 for the last few weeks, I also believe that the players around him need to perhaps help cover for some of his flaws whilst he's learning, because like you and I said when we were talking about Rudiger, he should be experienced enough now to perhaps cover for those mistakes, coupled with the fact that he is not a slow player as well. So whilst Chilwell deserves, plenty of criticism that he all too easily receives, I do think perhaps that other players, when Alonso's on the pitch, they know to cover straight away because he's always going to be forward, where Chilwell's a bit lost in transition and then essentially gets lost in play. And also, I don't really think people expected Sheffield to play the way they did. I mean, I got laughed at on a stream last week when I said that they're going to play like they've got nothing to lose. And I also said that they were going to play like a smaller team in a cup tie because they're give or take relegated anyway. So they really don't have anything to lose. And then when they went 1 down, they really didn't have anything to lose. And when you combine all those factors, I think maybe it gives a bit of a bigger picture. But for Chilwell, he needs to find his feet rapid. Otherwise, he's going to struggle to find himself in the side. And hopefully next season, that is the case, because I don't see Emerson. I think Emerson's going to go.
Yeah.
And Alonso could still be here because he's useful. But if we're going to play a 3 at the back, which I'm not sure will be the way it is moving forward realistically, even though it is working, I think you can get better wing backs out there than Alonso, considering his age and moving forward. So it's a tough one for Chilwell.
Yeah, really, really well said, Jay. And I think something else that we have to take into consideration as well is that, like you said, we don't know what the formation is going to be moving forward. And we know that Tuchel doesn't mind rotating between formations as well. And I've said this a couple of times that I feel like he's using the back three to try to steady up, like stop the defense from leaking goals, start trying to get some wins, and then, try to get top four. And then in preseason, we can kind of play around with the different formations, or maybe even against different sides this season. Who knows? But I do think that we're not just going to see a 3 at the back system. We probably will see a back 4 at some point, and that's also where Chilwell feels more comfortable. So I don't think that it's necessarily like completely out the window for him. Like you said, he just has to learn the left wing back position a little bit better. And I do think that we'll be seeing him play as a left back. Somebody else I want to ask you guys about, I saw a comment, but I can't find it, is about Ziyech, because he's somebody that hasn't been playing much. I think he just played as a sub in the Wolves game. And I know that he was coming back from injury, but I don't know if he's still coming back from injury, if he still has a little niggle or what's going on with that. So I'm not sure if that could potentially, I can't think of the right words today, you guys, if that could impact his team selection, because I did see that Tuchel said something like, oh, there's no need to rush players back who are coming from injury. But I don't really know where he would fit into the system. And that, like I said, I don't think that we're necessarily going to be playing the system week in, week out. But right now, I don't know where he would slot in necessarily. What do you think, Areef?
Ziyech at the moment, I don't think I think he doesn't get into the team at the moment because of the way we're playing. We've not lost a game yet. Why change something that's not broken? I think he will come in for the FA Cup game on Thursday. Just so we can see how we actually play. So when Tuchel came in, I thought Ziyech should be the most excited person in the world, because I thought he can be used like Di Maria was used at PSG under Tuchel. And Di Maria, in my eyes, was probably one of the best players under Tuchel in PSG. Of course, they had Neymar and Mbappe. They're on a different level. But Di Maria, I thought, was the most improved, probably the best player that PSG had during their Champions League run as well. So I was a bit shocked that Ziyech was left out, but Tuchel did explain it a little bit, that overload of match playing because of injuries as well, and he just wanted to give Ziyech rest. And like Jay pointed out, and Jay was absolutely right when he said that Tuchel does not have a preseason under him. He came halfway through a season, in a season where everything is so compact, like there's a game after game after game after game. So how much really is he trying to implement new ideas or new formations into the team? If we don't know, or how much time he has, we already know he doesn't have that much time. So he's not trying to break something that's working. So Ziyech, in my eyes, will eventually be part of Tuchel's plans, because he's too good. He has too much quality on the ball to not start. You know what I mean? But I feel that at the moment, because he's playing 3 at the back, he just feels that Hudson-Odoi, Reece James, Mason Mount, Timo Werner, all these players bring more to the team in this formation. When I believe in the back 3, I don't think he would be as useful as these other players. But then again, on the contrary, you could say he could be useful because he doesn't have to track back as much in the back 3, because the back 3 eventually, like Jay said, turns into a back 5, and it gives more defensive solidity. So it's a bit of a tricky one with you. I do eventually think that he will come back into the team. I think with Tuchel, he's still learning his players. Like I said, our squad is so big, it's huge, and and we can only field 11 players. So I think eventually Tuchel will learn more about his team, and eventually will know which formation he wants to use for the long term. And Ziyech will be part of that. I have no doubt about that, because I feel like Di Maria and Ziyech are 2 very similar players. So it's not all is lost for Ziyech yet. I still have hope, because he's one of my favorite players at Chelsea at the moment. Like Jay has a soft spot for Chilwell, I have a soft spot for Ziyech. So I do think that he will eventually come into the team for sure. So nothing to worry about. Not yet.
And I have a soft spot for Pulisic, so we all have our people. Jay, what are your thoughts really quickly about Ziyech? You think that you see him getting into the team now, maybe used more as a sub until we change the formation? What do you think?
Yeah, firstly, just because I saw a comment after I spoke about the fullbacks and maybe Alonso not being there, and someone asked who do I think is a better wing back that we could maybe get if Alonso were to leave. I'd be looking at Rafael Guerrero or Angelino, both from the Bundesliga. They're both much better than Alonso is. But Ziyech, I'm not going to cover the same ground that Areef spoke about, because actually I think Areef's pretty bang on. I think Di Maria is a bit more industrious. That's about it. There are definite similarities between the two. I'd say Ziyech's better from a dead ball. The thing is it's the same with Pulisic. Ziyech is obviously not the toughest lad, is he? And he's picked up a couple knocks here and there, and I think Tuchel might be acutely aware of those things based off of the, how deep he goes into understanding his players. And let's face it, it's not very deep to understand that certain players you have struggle with injuries more so than others. That's basic knowledge that most fans know. So he's well aware of that. In terms of moving forward, I want to support what Areef said, as I agree that Ziyech will get plenty of minutes. Personally, I think it'll be more as a 10 than out wide, and which I quite like the idea of, and I've wanted to see since Ziyech signed. I always thought he'd be a good 10. But I've said it multiple times, we have the most bloated squad in Europe. And if we're going to shift a lot of players this summer, they have to play a certain amount of minutes in order to garner some interest. You look at Jorginho. Jorginho was on the periphery until recently. We still don't know whether his future at the club looks likely or unlikely, but he's playing, so it's going to up his price. Zuma, we don't know. He was meant to be out, and now he was in under Lampard and out again, but he's done enough this season to justify a decent price tag if he goes. Rudiger's playing, will probably justify a price tag if he goes. Christensen getting minutes, that's to boost his price tag. Kepa's, there's no point playing Kepa because it's actually too risky. I think the team, the club, are going to just take a loss on that as it is. So, whilst it's not particularly fun to talk about things like that, the club and the way that you see a lot of people support the way Marina does things and Roman Abramovich does things, and you won't find me saying too many nice things about Roman Abramovich, if I'm honest with you, but Marina, certainly, she has an excellent understanding of the market and what you need to do to recoup money, and Chelsea are trying to run themselves effectively and intelligently, and that means bringing in a manager that can harness elite talent but can also improve peripheral players to a level where they might be able to just add a couple million onto their price tag, and that collectively will add up. And I think we're going to see an exodus of players at the club. I would anticipate around 10 players leaving, if I'm honest with you.
So follow-up question for you, because I think that this is really interesting. So would you go so far as to say that certain players are playing just to up their price to be sold in the summer?
Yeah, definitely. Alonso, Giroud, Jorginho, Rudiger, Christensen, straight off the bat. I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek's going to be sold. I think Barkley's going to be sold. I imagine Ampadu, if he's not guaranteed minutes, he'll probably leave as well. Emerson will leave, even though he's not playing. But what's the point when you've got Chilwell and Alonso? And with Emerson, I think he's justifiably decent enough. The fact that he doesn't need to play, and we'll probably get around 10, 15 mil for him anyway. So when you add that up, that's what, 9, 10 already. Caballero is going to leave, but he's 40, so it doesn't really matter. And then back here, Drinkwater will go as well. Obviously, he's not there, but he's on the wages still, because it's not Kazampa or however you say it, Kazampa, or they're not paying his wages, or all of it anyway. So that's over 10 straight away that are going to be gone. Gallagher as well, if he's not guaranteed minutes, I like Gallagher enough to want him to play regularly. And if it's not going to happen at Chelsea, I hope he gets an intelligent move for his own career development. And when you add all those things together, there's seriously going to be a lot of players that aren't there. And you have to play them in order to recoup some funds. Otherwise, people are going to just cut the prices because they've not been playing, and you can haggle with that. And we're also, to take things sort of outside football slightly, with what COVID's done to the global economy in every market, it's massively affected it. And so you're going to see a cut price on players anyway. So I imagine Marina and the board don't want those prices reducing even further by them being, stagnant on the bench, when a top level manager can probably get decent production out of them for the next 6 months.
Yeah, really, really well said. It will be interesting to see who ends up going. And I low-key hope that Ruben Loftus-Cheek finds his way again. Like, it sucks because
it's not going to happen, Ellie. It won't happen, I promise.
I just have like a feeling, like not a feeling, like a wish for him. He was so good in that 18-19 season with Hazard, you know, and I
don't think you don't buy Kai Havertz if Loftus-Cheek's going to play. You just don't do that.
But I don't know. I feel like Kai Havertz was kind of one of those things where it's like, well, nobody can sign him. Really, they can afford him. We can afford him, so maybe we just scoop him up before.
But then with that, like, I see this with a lot of Chelsea fans, specifically of Loftus-Cheek, because everyone has a soft spot for Loftus-Cheek. Like, Areef obviously mentioned Ziyech. I like Chilwell, but I like a lot of the players, don't get me wrong. But all of us like Loftus-Cheek because, and this goes back to the Mount point, right? Loftus-Cheek was the first one in a really long time that came from the academy, and everyone supported it, which makes it slightly strange that Mount has arguably been more successful than Loftus-Cheek in terms of personal development at the club, whilst he's maybe not technically as good a player, or specifically in that season you referenced, Ellie. But I always think this, I can't believe fans would want Loftus-Cheek back to be a bit part player at the club when you could see him develop as a really good player at another team and enjoy that. If you're a fan of the player, you know, you can enjoy them being successful at another club, I think. Do you know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean. I just wish that there was a way to find some spot for him and for him to get back to his best, because we're still not seeing him at that level. I think like the injury really did a number on him, but it just feels so unfortunate. Like my heart just breaks because he was playing so well, and then he got a terrible injury, and then he just hasn't been able to find his way back again. And I don't know. It's just like me being my inner hopeful self, hoping like, oh, maybe there will be some position. Maybe he can fill in as center back. I don't know. You know, I just want to see him on the pitch. But
you never know, though, right? Because the preseason, Tuchel is going to take up on preseason, and he is going to evaluate all these players, right? So there is maybe a slight chance that, you know, like Loftus-Cheek might come back to Chelsea and play. I don't think he'll play. I think he'll be on the bench. But then again, for his own career's sake, I don't think he would want to be on the bench. I don't think we will sell 10 people in the summer. I think we'll sell a lot of them that Jay just mentioned. But 10 players in one window would be a bit too much.
I reckon that I say that. I totally understand what you're saying. But I think there are replacements as well that cover for those issues. Like if you get rid of two centre-backs, then you've got Gurhi, Mbemba and Ampadu that could fill in. Even if one of them fill in, that reduces the money you're spending by half. Then if Jorginho goes, instantly Gilmore goes in because, you know, that makes sense. So you're recouping there. Emerson, if he goes, then you're left with Alonso and Chilwell regardless. So that's why I said it, because the squad is so bloated. And also a lot of the players I mentioned leaving aren't actually at the club anyway. Like Barkley, Gallagher, Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah. I think
what's his name?
Drinkwater. I think another point is also like the club really was not able to sell players the past summer window. So it's really going to be like 2 summer windows, because they should have sold players this window and they didn't. And then so you kind of have to account for it in the next window as well. But moving on, I want to get to a couple more questions that we got. So Ravi says, guys, who do you want to see star more and who should be benched in your opinion? And for me, I think that this is kind of difficult question just because we've been playing really similar type teams. So I think that the formation and the tactics have been similar, like try to get with, be direct, and break down the low block. But I do think like as we see teams that play more open, perhaps we'll even see a change of tactics or a change in the people that are used. For me personally, I want to see Pulisic play more. I know that he didn't play because of family issues apparently yesterday. I hope everything's okay with him. But he's like the one player that I really, really want to see play more. And Kai Havertz as well. Areef, what about you? Just like some quick thoughts.
Kai Havertz for sure. I would love to see him start, but alongside Mason Mount, if I'm being honest, not like together, right next to each other. I think Mason Mount should go a little bit deeper. I know Jay agrees with that because I hear him speak about that on his stream a lot. So I think I would love to see Kai Havertz start. I would love to see Ziyech start too, honestly. Obviously, I understand you don't want to break something that's not broken, that's working. So I understand why he's not starting at the moment, but I would love to see Ziyech start, especially in the Champions League where he's a different beast altogether. So I'd love to start. I'd love to see Ziyech start more. One person that I think I would be worried about, and I hope I'm not right in this case, I think Tammy should be a little bit worried. A little bit worried. The fact that you don't think so, Jay? I think Tammy should be a little worried about his starting 11 position because it's been a while since he started. I don't think. I think again the benefit of that does go to Tuchel. He doesn't. He's still experimenting with the team. I expect Tammy to start again in the FA Cup for sure. But he doesn't. He's not that type of player, especially because he's coming to his. He's still very young. He wants to play as much as often. I think he's not the type of player who scores 16 goals for 16 goals for us in the season the year before, and then all of a sudden be benched now and not be a starter. I know we saw that a little bit last year in Lampard too, but this year I think it's a little bit different. He wants to progress. He wants to be that main guy at Chelsea, especially. Realistically, it can't really make sense, right? If I'm Tammy Abraham, I'm thinking to myself, okay, Werner's not scoring, Giroud's not scoring. I score. Why am I not starting? You know what I mean? If I was Tammy, I would be frustrated. I'd be very frustrated because I would think to myself, I understand that Werner's your main signing of the summer, but he's not scoring goals at the moment. I have been scoring goals, so why haven't I started? So I understand. I would be a little bit worried. I would be very frustrated more than worried, actually. So I won't be surprised if he's one of the people that demands a move if he's not guaranteed to be a starter next year.
Jess, are you shaking your head? What do you have any thoughts?
He never agrees with me. This is the thing about Jay. He never agrees with anything I say.
I do, man. I said I backed your Ziyech comment just then. Do you know what? It's not that I disagree with you. I do think Tammy's starting position is tenuous, but I don't agree that it should be. Like, you know, I saw Midiano talk about this, and he made a really good point that Tammy's played 1,200 minutes, give or take, this season, and he's got 13 goal contributions. And Calvert-Lewin's played 1,900 minutes and got 19 goal contributions, no assists. And Calvert-Lewin's having the season of his life, and Tammy Abraham's a bit part player. I think that speaks volumes to Tammy's ability. I think perhaps it might take him a bit of time to adapt to what Tuchel wants from him. And also the fact that I just think aesthetically Tammy to watch is a bit weird. Like, I really, really rate him, but I think he's odd to watch because he's so tall but not built. And it's a bit weird. I don't know, Ellie, you definitely wouldn't have, because I know you started watching Chelsea later on, but if you ever watch Peter Crouch play,
oh gosh,
like this is a guy that scored over, but he scored over 100 Premier League goals, and he's got the most headed goals in the league history. But to watch him play, it's so strange because he sort of dangles about, and Tammy has a bit of that to him, not quite the same level, but just a bit of it. But Tammy, and you know, it's not because I'm good friends with Hajir, but if Tammy leaves and plays regularly for a different club, he's going to score bucket loads. Like, he's actually not a joke. He's going to score so many. He scored 26 goals at Aston Villa in the Championship, which is not a joke league. And then he scored 16 at Chelsea in the season after in the Premier League, which is a massive step up in a team that had a lot going on. He genuinely is really good. The problem is his weaknesses, they're just so glaring, which make them quite frustrating. I know Hajir disagrees with me, but I think his positioning is really poor. And his aerial ability is also poor. If he worked on those two things, which is obviously much easier said than done, it would be a totally different story. However, because you see links to Haaland and everyone else, Tammy's less shiny than Haaland is, and obviously less good. But I think he's a really decent player, and I would love to see him play more. I never think there's a case to see Giroud play over Tammy. I just do not see why. If you're going to play Giroud, just play Tammy, because Giroud's had one good game this season, as far as I can remember, and that was against Sevilla. Like, his link-up play has been pretty much non-existent this season in comparison to every season he's ever played in, which is bizarre. I think Giroud's obviously a professional, and every time that we see him play, we all see the comments. I've tweeted it. I'm sure you guys have tweeted it. Like, this guy's so professional. Look at the way he carries himself. But this is a guy who's twice asked to leave in the last 6 to 12 months. And he had a move to Lazio. The club said no, and he was keen on the move. So he doesn't really want to be here. I don't blame him, because he could get one more decent move, and Serie A is a perfect place for him to play, because it's a league that's perhaps kinder to older players. That's not to say that the league's poor in any way. It just so happens to work that someone like Giroud would probably have a really good time there for a few seasons. So I don't see why Giroud plays. So that would be my sort of, if I want to bench someone, I would not be playing Giroud over Tammy pretty much ever. And it frustrates me because he's been playing well, but realistically, I would rather see Billy Gilmour play over Jorginho. But right now, not right now.
We had a question, I'm trying to find it, that somebody said, like, do you think that Jorginho, somebody goes, I challenge Ellie to wear someone's reading glasses. I don't know where that came from. I wear contacts. I'm really blind without my glasses. So there was a comment. Oh, here, found it. Here. It says, has Jorginho made himself undroppable at the moment? And Jay, I think, according to you, I think we can all more or less agree. Like, I don't think he's undroppable, and that we'd all really like to see Billy. Oh my God, your face! I'd like to see Billy Gilmour go. Jay, just.
Oh, what a shocker!
That's a
What a shocker! I genuinely think if anyone thinks any player's undroppable, like. I don't think there are a few players in world football that are undroppable, in my opinion. And Jorginho is certainly not one of them. Oh, yeah, I was going to mention that at the end, to be fair. But I assume that's Jam. I assume that's Jam on the Chelsea social account. But yeah, big up Ellie. But no, Jorginho is not undroppable. He's just in good form. But again, like, he's doing what he should do. It's not like he's some sort of superhuman. And actually, he doesn't do what he should do enough, in my opinion, which is forward passing and breaking the lines. He's just very sideways. And I understand it because I had done some analysis on Tuchel's training methods for Miz. And I understand the way that Jorginho operates in the system, fair enough. But he is so weak when he's pressed. He runs like he's got glue on his boots. All he does is short passes. His long passing that he does once every 4 games is okay, but I'd much rather him lose the ball. Like, I feel with Jorginho that all he does is work out his pass percentage in his head when he's playing. And I just think it's frustrating because if he had a bit of freedom and he's just so expressionless for a passing midfielder, I can't really work it out, and it's just not particularly fun to watch. When you watch Fabregas, like, I know they're different players, but you watch Fabregas and it's like, this guy's kind of turned football into art. I feel like Jorginho is just the complete antithesis to that. And it's frustrating. So no, he's not undroppable.
Yeah.
He's definitely droppable.
He wasn't that good yesterday at all, because he was like once he gets pressed, he's not that good to watch. Against Tottenham, he looked good because he wasn't getting pressed at all. Once he started getting pressed against Sheffield yesterday, like we saw, he wasn't good at all. He lost the ball a lot. He wasn't good in the tackle. And he kept on passing sideways and he kept on passing backwards. And I think I heard Jay or Hajir talk about this on their stream as well. I want to see Jorginho actually do that once he gets pressed. And to be honest with you, he wasn't that great yesterday. And that makes him droppable. I think Billy Gilmour is far better than him, especially looking at Billy Gilmour's age. He's only going to get better. And he actually goes forward with the ball, which is funny to me, because Jorginho never, if you notice, he doesn't actually run with the ball forward. As soon as he gets the ball, he looks for the pass. Billy Gilmour's the type of player who actually progresses the ball forward, so it's not just all on Kovacic to get the ball and run and progress the ball from midfield into attack. Billy Gilmour can be that guy, and I've seen him do it, where he gets the ball, runs forward if he gets in space, and then makes the pass. And he's not scared to have a shot as well, Billy Gilmour, which we've seen as well. And of course, that's not Jorginho's job to have a shot, but Jorginho should be the type of player who can run forward, surely, and create space for himself. And the thing is, once he gets pressed, he's done. He's absolutely done. He's going to turn back, he's going to pass it to Rudiger or Christensen. which is what's frustrating. And once he got man marked yesterday for the first couple of, I think the first 25 minutes, 30 minutes in the game, he was non-existent for a while.
Do you know what? I just seen a comment that was like,
I was going to say, it looks like you've seen something.
Calvin Phillips' English Jorginho is the worst take I've seen today, and I've seen some shocking comments in here, I can't lie. Calvin Phillips is a superior player to Jorginho, but the thing is, like, when I try and analyse Jorginho as a player, I try and think like, okay, so as the Jorginho type of player, who is the absolute peak Jorginho? Like, if Jorginho was absolutely incredible, I think Busquets would probably be the highest level. I hear people say Pirlo, but I think that would be a poor comparison because Pirlo's a much more progressive passer and more creative. I think Busquets is the ultimate form of what a Jorginho could be. And the fundamental difference is that when Busquets is pressed, he copes with it like it's nothing. Like he looks like he's playing with red wine in his hand. Like he looks, honestly, he's that composed. When Jorginho's pressed, he's lost. He was great against Spurs because they step off him and they do what Mourinho did, which is sit back. Against teams like that, he's fine. He's really good. Like he has attributes and skills that are really, really useful in the team. Like the way that he's able to feint and play those short passes and draw defenders out and stretch the game. I totally understand it. I'm not ignorant to that role. However, if you're going to pay 50 million for a player like this, put them on big money, and then they're going to play, I think they have to be able to deal with multiple scenarios. And Jorginho, he just can't do that. And I really, really don't care if other people tell me he can, because he can't. And also, I saw someone else say Mount also lost the ball, but hey, he does no wrong. I literally said about 5 minutes ago, I would be okay with Jorginho losing the ball if he was trying something creative, if he was trying to, look, Bruno Fernandes loses the ball 25% of the time, give or take. But he's so successful at being creative that it's almost worth it. And that, let's not kid ourselves, even though we are criticising Jorginho, he's technically an exquisite footballer. Like his ability is really, really high. So I'm happy for him to lose the ball if he's trying. Like, do you remember that pass against Watford last season when Tammy got that goal?
Oh yeah, incredible.
Like there are instances in the game, in almost every game, where that pass is on for Jorginho and he never does it. He absolutely never does it, and it's frustrating because he has that ability. Like he might as well try at least, because you'd hope that if he's playing a deep forward pass, that there will be at least 7 or 8 players behind where that ball lands in order to regain possession. And that's why. And apparently I don't know football, but you spelt no wrong.
But
I have like other comments of, so we get, I thought this comment was funny. Somebody just said, like your show, what's your Insta? And before we started this chat, Jay, I have this little overlay. And Jay said,
do it. You can do it. I'll just be like, it works.
Now. Darn. Oh, wait. Hold on one sec. Okay. So I have this little overlay and I was like, oh, it like takes out the third person so I can't have it on. And Jay was like, oh, well, everybody already knows where to find you. So where'd you put it? And look, somebody didn't know where to find me. So this actually came in really
But he asked for your Snapchat. It's not there.
I don't have Snapchat. So.
And also, come on now. Grow up a bit. Don't use Snapchat.
I don't use Snapchat, but I have Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. So here you go. Here's all of the links.
Oh, Ellie, can I quickly say something? I'm sorry to sort of steal your platform, but I've just seen that Patrick Larson's in the comments. Yeah.
Oh yes.
I just want to say big up Patrick. Big up Patrick, because he's actually gained like 150 followers in the last day, and he started doing videos on the platform, and he's like one of the most supportive guys on everyone's stuff. Yes. So I just want to say, big up Patrick, good stuff.
I'll make sure to put like all of their handles, like for Jai and Areef, in the description as well, so that everybody can find them, and for the Chelsea social as well. He's so nice. Like, thank you so much. So, guys, we've hit the hour mark. Jeff goes, "Why is Jai a floating head?" That's why we didn't have the overlay. That's why we didn't have it, you guys. But anyways, so we've hit the hour mark. I have a busy evening ahead, so I gotta get going. But thank you guys so much for watching. Jay and Areef, thank you so much for joining me today. Jay, I'll start with you. Just let the people know where they can find you, and I'll make sure to put it in the description as well.
I don't mind. They can find me wherever. I'm sure if you go on Chelsea Twitter at some point, you'll see me around. But I was going to actually say, make sure you follow Areef as well, because he's got some incredible football opinions. And while sometimes I don't agree with all of them, I think that's part of the beauty of football. And actually today, I've agreed with give or take all of them, mate. So make sure you follow Areef. Make sure you follow Chelsea Social. And obviously, if you're still here and you're not subscribed to Ellie, what is that about? So make sure you're doing that, yeah. And big up Ellie on 2K subs as well. It's quick development as expected.
Nah, that's really nice. It's been a lot harder than I thought it would be, honestly. So it's a really cool milestone. So thank you guys so much. Areef, where can the people find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Abareef, Abbareef. But yeah, follow me on Twitter. That's the only platform I'm on. But definitely follow Ellie on YouTube. You guys have no idea how hard it is to do editing on these videos. Definitely follow her. She's always working hard to gain more followers and bring content for you guys. So definitely make sure you guys following her on YouTube and subscribing.
Thank you guys so much. Honestly, it means a lot because it takes so much time, and sometimes I get really tired, but at the end of the day, I really enjoy doing it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There's going to be sorry, somebody goes, Jay knows nothing. Watch football with your eyes.
Honestly, I live for comments like that. I actually do. Please DM me if you fancy it.
He loves me, so that's all that matters on this channel, really. No, I'm kidding. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't liked this video, please drop it a like, because it honestly helps me out so much more than you know. I know there's a lot of people who watch these videos and aren't subscribed, about 60% actually. So please subscribe to my channel. I promise I have a lot of content coming up, a lot of guests on. If you guys like Eunice, I'll get him back on. I know that he was a big hit with you guys, so more guests like that coming. I'll be on Lorenz's channel this Friday, and thank you so much again for watching, and until next time, I'm out.